Welcome to the Ambitious Broker Podcast, where elite real estate professionals share their secrets to success, discuss topics impacting their industry, and gain professional development insights. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome to this inaugural episode of the Ambitious Broker Podcast, a podcast made for real estate professionals to help them up their game. Today, we're going to learn a little bit more about your host. I'm your guest host for the day, Christopher Decker, and we're speaking with Roger Hance, the host of the Ambitious Broker Podcast. Roger, tell us a little bit more about your background. Why listen to you?
That's a good question. I got started in real estate in 1974. So I've been in the business for 46 years now. And my first 5 years, I started with a company called Forrest Olson, which was owned by Coldwell Banker at the time in Southern California. They were the largest company in Southern California. And so I was pretty fortunate. I got to started off pretty fast, was a good listener. And by my third year became the number one income producer with that company. And then went on to start my own company in 1978.
Now, when you started your first company in 1978, how old were you?
Well, I was 25 years old at the time. So just turned 20. In fact, it started on my 25th birthday.
Why did you start that company? What did you see? What was the need?
Well, I think at the time there was a lot of factors that went into it, but I had stumbled across some good sales techniques and some marketing ideas that worked very, very well for me. And the company that I was with, I actually had trouble. They had come to me and asked if I could teach some of them to a group of people. And so for almost a year, I did that with them. And there was a support level that I was hoping to get with some of these techniques, and it didn't come. And so I thought, well, if I was going to be sincere and have any integrity in my thoughts and beliefs that it would help salespeople, that I probably was going to have to do it myself. And so that's ultimately what happened and why I ended up starting my own company.
Interesting. So if it didn't exist somewhere else, you figured might as well do it yourself. Over the years, you've become.
That's actually exactly right. It's exactly what it came down to. It didn't exist anywhere, so let's get out and do it. And it was really designed around a concept that still has value today, and that is that people could work like a team with each other, even though they're independent and they're all pursuing their own individual goals. The idea that working together in a given marketplace could become a very dominant thought. It's very contrary to what's happened today. It was even contrary then, but it turned out to be extraordinarily productive. And just the idea that under a single brand, that people can work in a single direction and have something very unique about your brand that a consumer could understand could be very, very positive to individual people's goals.
Well, this leads me to my next question, is that over the years, you've become pretty well known for your technology. And this leads me to my next question. Over the years, you've become pretty well known for your innovations in technology. When did that start and how did it continue to evolve?
As the company was going and we got very, very productive and we were using all these creative ideas, and then I had a good creative group also in the very beginning. And as we pursued that, it becomes obsessive. You just want to keep being better and better. And so by the early 80s, I was starting to discover computers. And I didn't have a real application at first, but then the more I learned, the more I started to find ways that we could do that. So early on, by 1983, we had bought this massive mainframe computer and found a way to get a terminal on everybody's desk in the company. and start building some office management, start building some sales advantages through advertising, things that we can talk about in greater detail later. And then eventually we invented the CRM system. So a lot of companies today are using CRM systems. I don't think anyone knows where it started, but it started with us. And the reason for the computer was to finally realize that, you're in a business, and I tell people with my coaching that our number one focus is that, and the number one rule in real estate is that your income is going to be directly related and proportionate to how many people know you, like you, and trust you in the business. So the computer is just naturally a great tool to do more, widgets, to manage more relationships, to have more people connected to you. And it's out of that thought process is really where we started doing that. That led to some other changes in technology. Of course, we were the first company to ever use the simple thing as a voicemail. And the voicemail was really generated because of how the business model changed. As the offices grew, all of a sudden this new technology came along that allowed you to communicate more effectively with the people in your company and so forth. So we did that. We did drive-by radio. We created the first escrow processing software. And pretty much anything that wasn't internet related is stuff that we created way back in the 80s and 90s. So I think that that's how the reputation started. We eventually put the multiple listing service on our own computer. And then we were the first people in the country to ever try to aggregate multiple MLSs into a single database, which we were able to do and do successfully. And we learned a lot by that expansion of data and the expansion of the geography because of being able to get to, data in broader regions. So a lot of things from a technology standpoint, and I'm still a big believer in technology.
Wow. All right. So that's a reason to listen to you.
We're exploring a little bit that right now.
Right. And with this podcast, you're going to have a lot of people in the studio. You're going to be bringing icons in the real estate industry, experts in mindset and awareness and coaching. We're going to get into that in a second. But after you sold that company, you say that you spent a lot of time helping others do the same, start other companies, other initiatives. How was that experience? What'd you learn from it?
It was a very interesting experience, actually. You think about owning a real estate company for over 20 years and being an independent company, meaning that we weren't attached to a franchise or anything. You become very internalized. And I explored. I was a guy who would fly around the country looking at every new idea and everything I possibly could. But we were still came back to our company, and I came back and had to make decisions with sort of limited concepts. So I was surprised when I sold my company. I guess largely because of the reputation of some of what we had done. I actually started getting calls from people. And the next thing you knew, I was in a consulting business that I really never intended to be in. And then I helped 14, 15 different companies, real estate companies start. We helped as a consultant in opening the same dozen or so escrow companies. Started doing a lot of coaching with real estate agents, coaching of owners and managers of companies. And so that was a whole probably decade or so experience afterwards. And to get to walk into other people's office meetings and their logic after so many years of being alone was a very interesting experience through all the brands, Remax, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, some independents, Berkshire Hathaway, Intero, Exit, Engel Volkers, to have some insight to a little extra insight into the business models and the operations of all these really was a great learning experience for me.
Wow. Okay. So first I wanted to listen to you when you got me with technology. Now I want to learn from you because you've applied this in a lot of, you continue to repeat that over and over and over again. You've been involved with different associations of real estate, and I know you were president of the Southland Associates. What did you garner from those experiences?
Well, I think it's part of the purpose of this show is to get a broad understanding of all the issues that influence our day-to-day activities in real estate. And I had been brought into the Association of Realtors back in the 80s. And honestly, through frustration, I left after the consulting business and a broader range of understanding of all the different business models. I got brought back into it through people who asked me to come back in, became president of a local association. And there's a whole nother dimension of real estate that is influenced by the associations of realtors, NAR, state, and then the local associations. And to get into that and spend a bunch of years getting a deeper understanding of that and its influence on the business, how it can be influential, and the multiple listing services and all that has helped round out my understanding really of real estate. I was able to do the same thing with the mortgage industry and some of their associations. And so in my mind, it just kept expanding the diversity of my understanding of all these components. It helps creativity. It helps a lot of things.
Okay. So first we got to know you. Now we kind of like you. Let's start trusting Roger a little bit. You have one of the most diverse backgrounds in real estate: sales, management, technology, consulting, coaching, different types of businesses. That really leads us to this show now. After 46 years in this business, you've got something to say. And from what I understand, you want to help highlight what others have to say in probably the best form possible. So tell me about this show. What can people expect from this experience?
Well, I got brought into this again by people who had suggested it. And then as they did, it led me to you. And of course, you have sort of laid out some of the foundation for doing this. I'm an advocate. The way I define myself today, my email signatures say advocate for career-oriented real estate professionals. That's what this show is about. I'm an advocate. I'm for people who are ambitious, because ambitious people have dreams. Dreams change the world. So the question is, how do you turn that ambition into actual productivity and accomplishment? And that's what this show is going to be about. We're going to share some of my business experiences that cross more than just real estate in various ways, forms of technology. And ambitious brokers, to me, are the ones who are going to form and shape the future of the real estate business. I want to help those people. So I'm going to be that advocate. This show is a result of that advocacy. And so we're going to bring in people who are icons in the industry. We have a series that we're referring to as the Icon Series, where we're going to bring in the top people in the country. Just in our first 4 or 5 interviews, you're going to be listening to people that are in the top 1 or 2, 15 people in the entire real estate industry. They're going to come in, and we're going to talk about not just the things that they do or have done, but we're going to talk about the mindset. I want people to understand what makes these people tick, because forget all the closing, forget all the closing techniques and all the marketing techniques. The thing that you learn after 46 years and thousands of real estate agents coaching and working for you is that there's some common denominators. And I want people to see that. And I want them to understand that it first starts with how you think, how you feel, how you approach day-to-day activities. And these icon agents that we're going to interview are going to be extremely insightful. So that's going to be part of the vein of what we do. But again, the idea is to have this widespread, diverse content on the show. So if it touches real estate, Christopher, you and I are going to be talking about it. And that's going to have to do with bringing in coaches for mindset, self-awareness. We're going to talk about things to do with financing, things to do with different business models. We're going to talk about Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and all the portals, IDXs, the entire range of things that touch our business. The new venture capital companies that are investing in trying to be disruptive to our industry, that's going to get on the table in this show. And throughout all of this, I think people are going to broaden their awareness of what's influencing their businesses, and help them make the adjustments to be very successful and turn ambitions into successes.
Ambitious people dream and shape the world. Ambitious brokers take back their industry. This has been the inaugural episode of the Ambitious Broker Podcast. If you have gotten anything out of this, smash that subscribe button. Come back, whether you're just coming for the first time and listening to episode 1, or you're already on episode 100 into the future after we've recorded this. We don't even know where we're going, but the journey is going to be very, very exciting, and we'd like for you to join us along the way. Do you have any closing thoughts, Roger?
Well, that's what we promise you. We promise you a very exciting journey and a lot of extraordinary content. And, things are shaped by business models of real estate brokerage companies today. I sold mine. Real estate agents aren't always told the truth. I'm going to tell them the truth. And I'm going to let people know what to expect and what to watch out for. So come along for the journey. And we're looking forward to your content, your contribution. And so let's try to have some fun, Christopher.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Ambitious Broker Podcast, where elite real estate professionals share their secrets to success, discuss topics impacting their industry, and gain professional development insights. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please rate it and leave a review.